AskReddit by Still Return 7. What series movies that left you asking WTF did I just watch? Swiss Army Man. I used to think I'd never see Daniel Radcliffe as anything other than Harry Potter, but this movie was so memorable that now the first thing that comes to mind when I see his name is Harry Potter and the farting corpse. Sorry to bother you. That movie was a wild ride. It was pretty weird out the gate, but then dialed it way up in the second half. Severance. Total manfuck, superbly executed. With the AAA talent in this show, they couldn't have messed it up. It's really good. Renewed for a second season. That show is brilliant. I haven't felt so heart-pumpingly engaged as I did in that finale since, well, maybe ever. I can't wait for season 2. Mulholland Drive. Really, that's just David Lynch. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I love going through the frames of the different multiverses as they zoom by. So much to see and wonder about. And Michelle Yeoh is simply fantastic in everything she's in. Midnight Gospel, especially the episode with his dying mother. That show is intense. That episode is by far the most intense of them all. Naked Lunch. Had no idea what it was about. A friend had it on at my place when I got home from work. I think I walked in on the talking cockroach scene in Police Interrogation. It's now one of my favorite films. I can think of at least 2 things wrong with that title. Definitely, FLCL, https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/FLCL. 20 years old and it's still my all-time favorite TV show. It's like the creators of the show threw 6 buckets of paint at a wall and ended up creating a Picasso masterpiece. Annihilation. That movie, and that scene, was twisted as fuck. Very scary. Wonder Chosen. I remember seeing it late nights during high school on MTV2 and being like, they can get away with this exclamation point. They only got away with it for 2 seasons lol. I have a special place in my heart for that show. Tenet. I'm going to be completely honest, I left the cinema thinking, I don't know what happened, I don't know if I liked it, I was just confused. I left the cinema completely baffled because I couldn't hear 75% of the dialogue, which apparently is a choice Christopher Nolan makes to filter out the unworthy or something. It was my first movie post-COVID and I sat there in my mask thinking I would much rather be at home and jammers with captions on. Happy on Netflix. Has everything. Pedophiles, Nazis, slasher, shooting, cartoons, torture, funny stuff and also thoughtful moments. That series is bloody amazing. Love it so much. Twin Peaks in the best way possible. Have you seen Twin Peaks? Fire Walk with Me? Even though you know what happens, it's still exhilarating and horrifying. Beau is Afraid. Watched that recently. There is a lot to unpack in that. Is it deep? Or is it madness? Yes. The OA on Netflix. Interpretive dance can save the world. This is my choice as well. Midsommar. I watched it by myself in theaters and I was just like, Mad God. I'm pretty sure it's the weirdest movie I've ever seen. Man, I watched that when I was very ill and had to rewatch it to make sure it wasn't a fever dream. Splice. It got rappy and incesty real quick. Watch Dark on Netflix. You will become paranoid about details in scenes. It's so elaborate you could end up looking like the stringboard meme guy just understanding who is related. It's impressively good though. Midsummer. Never Again. The nuclear war film Threads. That one is just depressing and stressful to watch. Rubber. Never Again, and I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? The Leftovers gets wild in the later seasons. Just finished watching this, still kind of don't get it. The dream afterlife sequences were out there. NGL. I just had it on in the background because Carrie Coon has an incredibly gorgeous voice. 1979's Phantasm. That series is the shit and so underrated. Perfume, the story of murderer. At every turning point of the story I was asking myself WTF is this, but I couldn't look away. After it was over I just turned the TV off and sat there processing it for a while. It's one of those movies that I wish I could forget it and watch it for the first time all over again. It's funny at times but not in a haha way. It's dark and twisted and strangely beautiful. That movie is uncomfortably bizarre, which is obviously on purpose, but what makes it completely mind-skewering is that it's not all that difficult to understand. The story is about obsession. The need to achieve perfection that ultimately leads to murder. It's a tale told 1,000 times, but by any of the other 4 senses of the human body. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen or heard of any other suspense horror films that use the sense of smell to drive the plot. It's impressive how maliciously they use it. Glass. I saw it in the cinemas opening week. The third act just left me feeling confused and disappointed. The Glass trilogy is amazing, ignoring the last act of Glass itself.